Good day, everyone. I'm your moderator, Lee Judge, and welcome to today's webinar entitled Becoming Digital. Turk Telecom shares how to drive self-service adoption, brought to you by Jacada. As a note, to honor the privacy of our attendees, only your name will appear in the attendee window. Our presenters today are Ahmed Furkan, Digital Business Development of Turk Telecom Group, and also Özhan Teker, Digital Business Development of Turk Telecom, and also Chris Dutoy, CMO of Jacada. Today we will discuss how the multi-play provider Turk Telecom pivoted calls into a digital self-service experience while improving self-service adoption. Following the presentation, there will be a question and answer session, so please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A window at any time during the event. Again, to honor the privacy of our attendees, only your name will appear in the attendee window. So let's begin. We'll start the conversation with Furkan Gul. The presentation is all yours, Furkan.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. So today I'm here with my colleague Özhan, and we'll talk about our first-hand experience with visual IVR.
I'm passing the presentation now, Furkan. You should have it.
All right.
And choose your presentation tab at the top.
Okay. So, like I said, we'll talk about our first-hand experience with visual IVR so far. And before we do that, I would like to give you some idea about the Turkish digital and ICT landscape, and also talk about Turk Telecom in general. So, Turkey is a country with almost 80 million people, and our urbanization rate is around 74%. And we have almost 47 million active internet users with a penetration rate of 58. And we are very active on social media because we have a very young population, and our median age is around 29. And almost 42 million people use social media actively, and we have around 71 million mobile connections, with people using social media about 36 million. And our mobile phone penetration in general is around 86%, and smartphone penetration is right now it's about 62%. This number is from last quarter, so the current number is around 62%, and almost 77% of the people in Turkey, they use the internet, and the total number of active mobile internet users is around 41 million. And average daily use of the internet on a mobile phone is roughly 2.5 hours. So Turk Telecom is a company, is a very old company actually. Its roots date back to almost 177 years ago, but the first official separation from post office actually happened in 1995, and we went through a privatization period in 2005. So 55% of Turk Telecom was owned by Turk Telecom, and in 2008 we had a public offering. And in 2016, last year, we unified all our brands under one brand, which is Turk Telecom. And when we look at Turk Telecom, we are one of the most well-known brands in Turkey, and we are the only integrated telecom services company in Turkey, and we have a 98% fixed-line household coverage with 38 million subscribers. Now, our 3G population coverage is around 86%, and since privatization, since 2005, we have invested almost $8 billion into our infrastructure. And we have around 200,000 kilometers of fiber around all 81 cities in Turkey, and we have almost 13 million fiber home passed. And besides our three main companies, we have some subsidiaries, which is Turk Telecom International. It's our wholesale business Assist is our call center operation where we employ 8,000 people in Turkey, and we also outsource our services to other companies in Turkey. And Argela is our R&D arm for network infrastructure, software, and hardware. Sebit is our educational content service provider, and Innova is our IT integrator company. So like I said, we are the only integrated telecom company in Turkey, and we have joined our fixed and mobile network, and we unified our brand under Turk Telecom. Previously, we had 3 other brands for our fixed line business as well as our fixed broadband and mobile business. And we created one-stop shops, and we also joined our customer database by collecting explicit content from our customer base. So to give you some ideas about the Turkish market and our market share in general, in fixed broadband markets, we have 85% market share in wholesale and 6 to 7% market share in retail. And when you look at the Turkish market, Turkey's household penetration is around 43%, and average Turkish household size is around 3.6 people. In mobile market, we are the 3rd player in terms of customer size, and we have right now around 16 million subscribers. And when you look at Turkey's population penetration for mobile is around 94%, and mobile broadband penetration is around 50%. And last year we had a tender for LTE, advanced LTE, and that also helped us acquire a lot of spectrum, critical spectrum, which we didn't have before. For instance, 800 megahertz and 900 megahertz, and that's also made us invest almost 2 times more than our competitors. But right now we have almost very similar spectrum. So when you look at the Turkish market, we have 3 mobile players, and we almost have the same infrastructure. So right now we're trying to compete in the customer satisfaction area. So that's why this project was quite important for the whole group as well. And we also launched our 4th business in order to become a quad play player in the market, which is our pay TV called TV Boo. Actually, we started our pilot project with Visual IVR on our TV Boo service, where we have almost 400,000 subscribers. And when you look at Turkey, Turkey's pay TV household penetration is around 27%. And we are from Turk Telecom's digital businesses department, and we have 5 main focus areas, which are digital advertising, digital communications, big data monetization, SME digitization, and digital content. So digital communication is one of the most critical parts of our responsibilities, and we also spend quite a lot of time on identifying new opportunities in this market. So B2C communications was one of the areas that we focused on actually. So we look at the B2C communications market, and we have seen that traditional channels like telephone, website, web chat, text, and in-person communications, they all follow decline. And when you look at mobile app or social media usage, the numbers are going up because the generation is changing. And when you look at the past customer service experience and the future of it, there are different expectations from the customer side. Now customers are expecting 24/7 customer service, where we had 9 to 5 times a week working customer centers before. And right now the customer wants to be in control. They would like to see more self-service. But before that, company was in control. You could only do what the company was providing to you. And there are other stuff that made us, invest into different technologies in terms of B2C communications. So when we look at our customer journey, here you see the, in the upper part, the online world, digital world, and in the lower part, you see the physical world. So we are almost in all of the existing channels that could be provided to our customer base, and we are investing into especially digital channels very heavily. And in terms of digital channels, we are actually using quite a lot of platform channels, which are our web self-service platform, where we have almost 50 million monthly visits, and we also have our mobile apps on iOS and Android, where we have 6.3 million downloads with 3.4 monthly visits, and we are also very active on social media with 3.4 million likes and almost over 330,000 followers. We also actually launched our wearable application on Apple Watch, so we are also providing customer service through our wearable devices. But we are investing into these type of technologies and channels, and our visitor number and also self-service rate is still high. But when you look at all the incoming calls, we see that we still have almost over 100 million calls a year. So we looked at the market and we tried to understand the reasoning behind it, and we saw that generations, when you look at different generations, their expectation from customer channel is different, and there's also a significant transition from traditional channels to digital channels. And when you look at the existing customer channels in today's world, from 6-7 years ago, most of the channels that we have today didn't exist before. So we had 4 main challenges, which are our call volume was not going down, and we were receiving almost 100 million calls through our customer center, and people were still looking for a human contact, and they also had some suspicion towards self-service, and for specific use cases they would like to get in touch with an agent to express themselves more clearly, and that also caused us to in an increase in our agent costs. So we looked for a solution, a new and innovative solution that could also help us overcome those barriers and challenges. So Özhan will talk about our visual IVR project in general. So he actually managed the whole project from beginning to end, so he will share some valuable inputs about our project.
Thank you, Furkan. And now I will present our visual IVR pilot study, from how we started the project and which outcomes we had out of this study. As Furkan has just mentioned, we received more than 1 million calls per year, and we needed to find an innovative solution that could reduce our cost and at the same time could improve the customer experience. Therefore, we investigated many technologies such as live chat, video chat, call steering, etc., but none of them covered our needs. Our goal was to decrease the number of calls that our call center gets. People who already use digital products, self-service options, and our customer care application were not our main focus. The idea was to transfer people who call our call center to a digital world where they can find self-service solutions to their most common problems. Therefore, we selected Visual IVR. Visual IVR is a solution which starts interactions with a regular call. So the starting point is still our call center phone number. We identify calls from smartphones by using an existing web service in our IVR solution. And then we play a voice prompt to the customers who call our call center by using their smartphones. In that voice prompt, we explain that we have developed a new service that contains many features and solutions that will provide better and faster support for them. Customers are authorized in the IVR, and their user data are used to generate the content of the self-service platform. If they want to continue with this new digital service, they simply press 1 and get a short message that contains a link to our Visual IVR self-service. But if they don't want to use this service, they still have the option to continue and use the regular IVR. The idea behind this self-service platform is to provide a simple interface with menus that are easy to understand. There are three major IVR platforms in Turkey: Avaya, Genesis, and Cisco. Jacada Visual IVR solution promised that it was full compatible with all these three platforms. We are in Turk Telecom. We are using Avaya as our IVR platform solution. Before we launched this visual IVR service to our customers, we made a POC study with Jacada in order to see how Jacada visual IVR solution works with our Avaya IVR platform. And we found out that the Jacada visual IVR just worked well with our existing IVR. Then we decided to make a pilot study and open this service to our customers in order to see their experience with this technology. And we selected our IPTV customers as the first segment of customers who will use this service. But before developing this visual IVR service, we needed to make many preparations, and we analyzed more than 800,000 calls that we get to our call center. We categorized them and tried to find solutions to most common problems and use cases. First of all, we implemented all already existing web services that are in our IVR solution. And afterwards, we created new web services and content that could be displayed on our customers' smartphones, especially video content that show our customers how they can solve most common technical issues self-service. As you can see on this slide, our customers can see their account details and pay their bills, and they can watch special offers and get directed to the agent for sales. And they can watch informational video content for complex troubleshooting. And they can easily find out if there are outage in their area. And finally, if they cannot find what they are looking for, they still have the option to call the call center. But before connecting to the agent, they have the option to share photos and videos about the problem they are having. The implementation of the visual IVR was very easy. It was a frictionless journey and a seamless transition from IVR. The biggest obstacle for us was to fulfill the requirements from our own information security department. The solution is completely interactive because it leverages the web capabilities of the HTML5. The Jacada Visual IVR solution has a designer tool which is very easy to learn and easy to use. It is very straightforward to design the flows and the web pages by using this designer tool. Finally, our Visual IVR solution showed that it is a solution that cuts down the agent costs and at the same time improves the customer experience. On this slide, you can see the results of the first 2 months in our pilot study. We had about 600,000 incoming calls from our IPTV customers, but we placed the visual IVR voice prompt to only 56% of the times, because we did not allow to play the voice prompt to customers who didn't call from smartphones. And if customers calls from a PSTN number, or if they are not an existing Turk Telecom customer, they also cannot hear the voice prompt and cannot use the visual IVR service. Also, our prime customers who are being treated differently cannot use this service because these type of customers are being directly connected to the agents. So out of 320,000 incoming calls, 9% of the calls have been transferred to visual IVR. And finally, 70% of all the visual IVR calls have been handled in the visual IVR, and 30% of the calls have been connected back to the agents. We had 3 success criteria for this study: adoption rate, handle ratio, and reduction of average handling time. Before the study, we targeted 10% adoption rate, and today we have increased the adoption rate of the visual IVR to 12.9% of the calls, and our IVR handle ratio is about 45%, and we targeted that this rate will be 60% for visual IVR. In this study, we achieved 70% visual IVR handle ratio. Finally, our last success criteria was to reduce the average handling time by 1 minute. But because of the habits of our agents we could not achieve this goal. The adoption of the agents was not that high that we expected. But overall, we can conclude that visual IVR is an efficient tool that results in higher customer experience. I also want to share some other details from our study. During our visual IVR pilot study, we found out that voice prompts play an important role in adoption rate. We tried to explore and improve the results by changing our voice prompts. And we identified that long prompts and prompts that have promotional effect do not work. Simple and 8 to 10 seconds long prompts resulted in higher adoption rates for visual IVR. And this slide compares the visual IVR self-service rate with our existing IVR self-service rate. From the first day, we can see here that from the first day, visual IVR had higher self-service rate, and we can see that visual IVR has about 20 to 25% higher self-service rate than regular IVR.
Let me jump in here and add the details. This is the potential uplift that we can see. You know, that 20 to 25% is the potential uplift. Of course, you know, we had a very quite a low adoption rate of visual IVR, which was around 10 to 12%. So theoretically, if we can increase this number to 100%, the potential increase in our self-service rate will be, 20 to 25%.
Yes. And on this slide, we can see the results from our customer satisfaction survey. Even though we had quantitative results from our study, we also wanted to understand what our customers think and get more details about their experience. Therefore, we prepared a satisfaction survey, and we had answers from 203 users that have tried visual IVR. We found out that the satisfaction level is very high, and according to this survey, our customers found that this service is very helpful, and more than 80% of them will recommend visual IVR to other users. The status for Turk Telecom is that we have expanded visual IVR licenses until end of 2017. Even though we have developed several web services and prepared many video content, we still think that there must be some improvements. We have categorized the improvements according to better experience, increasing adoption rates, and increasing sales. And finally, our plan is to implement these improvements in 2017. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and I hand over it to Lee now.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Furkan and Özhan, for your valuable insights on how Visual IVR assists in driving self-service adoption and improving customer experience across all channels. We have some really great questions already in our Q&A window, so please continue to add them. Before we go into Q&A, we're going to hear from Chris Dutoy of Jacada with some best practices and some what to expect metrics around Visual IVR. Chris, let's hand the ball over to you. You should have presentation rights now.
Great, thank you very much, Lee, and thank you, Furkan and Özhan. That was a great presentation. What I really liked is how you shared all those statistics with the audience, and that's what we really like to do is really be very analytical when we approach these projects, because a lot of the questions we get, and I want to get to all the questions we got during this webinar, are often about what kind of numbers can I expect, and a lot of that comes down to best practices. And that's why I appreciated Furkan and Özhan sharing the numbers they're getting out of the pilot. It is important when we look at Visual IVR projects, we like to measure it, as Özhan showed, as a funnel. These are not Turk Telecom numbers, but this is just representative of a funnel where we obviously get a certain number of calls coming in at the top of the funnel. As Özhan mentioned, only those with smartphones are qualified to actually handle a Visual IVR session. So while my 7 million calls here is fictitious, the percentages on the right are numbers that we expect to get on a optimized or finely tuned Visual IVR implementation after we've had a chance to do some continuous improvement. And I just want to share some of these best practices here as to how to improve these rates. For people being offered a Visual IVR session, i.e. the people who are calling in from a smartphone, there are a number of factors that can really drive up this percentage. The timing of the message. I know Özhan mentioned not to be too promotional in the message. You also don't want to make the message too long into the voice prompt, because at that time, your customer's already made a mental commitment or a time investment to stay in the IVR session. So you want to be cognizant of the timing of it. The phrasing of the message is fundamentally important. We've gone through significant A/B split testing. Simply changing one of the words in the message can absolutely change that percentage of customers opting into that digital session. So very important that you do some split testing on your own projects. And of course, we have certain best practices around those already, as well as education. This is a new form of self-service. These are voice callers who are now really being directed into a digital session. So educating customers, putting a little comment on the bills that go out every month, telling them they can try the new visual self-service, Visual IVR, that goes a long way as well as driving up. So if you reach that 45–50% opt-in ratio of your voice callers calling in. Once they receive that text message, of course, you want them to open it. You want them to now enter into a Visual IVR session. And again, there's a couple of best practices there. And some of them may be obvious, but there are some subtleties to them. The originating domain, of course, has to look credible. The customer shouldn't think that this link that they received is a phishing attempt, etc. So have the originating domain appear to be coming from the customer or the organization rather. Again, the phrasing and the length of the text message can make all the difference in the world. When you split test this, you'll start understanding what type of phrasing drives better results and better click-throughs, as well as the length. We encourage URL shorteners and so forth, so you don't have a very long rather cryptic-looking URL coming in. And of course, minimizing the delay and just ensuring that that message is received by your customer in a timely manner. But all of that will change those numbers as well. And then finally, of course, once you have them in that digital session and improve it, and Özhan talked about the uplift in self-service on visual IVR versus the regular IVR, and you can continually improve that, because once you've got your customer in a digital session, now you can start getting a little more sophisticated with the self-service offerings. You can leverage the device, such as being able to type alphanumeric data, displaying pictures and personalized videos, maybe even using the camera of the device to assist in troubleshooting, and just making these transactions more self-service, adding transactional capabilities that your traditional voice IVR might be struggling with, and that can easily give you the 38–40% improvement in self-service ratio over your existing voice IVR as well. So just applying these best practices, but coming into any pilot in a very analytical methodology will allow you to do continuous improvement, easily push out changes, monitor them, and just keep refining and improving. And it's just very exciting to see how Turk Telecom are approaching this, again, from this analytical perspective and doing this continuous improvement, which we do encourage all our customers to do. So with that, Lee, I'd actually like to turn that back to you, because we've got a ton of questions, and I want to make sure we get to those.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Chris. So due to the high participation and the high number of questions that we have in the Q&A window, we'll answer as many questions as we can from the Q&A window, and the remaining will be responded to you individually after the event. So I want to remind Furkan, Özhan, and Chris, please be sure your Q&A window is open so you can see any additional questions, and I'll pick some randomly and let you guys answer them. So the first question I'll select here says, how do you manage your sales and operations team to become aware of digitalization and prepare for the shift?
Right. So we talked about our 5 main focus areas, which are basically to generate new sources of revenue for the whole Turk Telecom group. But we also have another responsibility, which is to help Turk Telecom accelerate its digital transformation process. So this is one of the things that we also spend quite a lot of time on, and also we are communicating with not just sales and operations teams, but also marketing, information security or regulations with all the departments, just to let them know about the potential of digital services. So, for instance, Visual IVR was one of the projects, and we actually used your previous use case results to prove that such a project would also deliver cost reduction also and also customer satisfaction. So how we manage it is basically we spend a lot of time talking to our internal stakeholders and also our colleagues, and sharing some quantifying all the potential results so that they can also see the overall view and how much they can make, or how much they can reduce in terms of cost. So first, spending a lot of time on communications, and also spending a lot of time in quantifying the potential impact.
Okay, excellent. The next question I'll pull is regarding results. They're asking what sort of organizational alignment was required to achieve these results.
Mm-hmm. So luckily we had one team who was responsible for visual IVR and web service integration in our customer care team. So we actually essentially at the end of the day we have to talk to one department who helped us communicate with other departments that would be part of the project. So having a point of contact person in your customer care team was also very helpful for us. But at the same time, we had to communicate or set up meetings with other departments that were part of the project, such as marketing, information security, regulation. So basically we had to, convince all those parties so that, we were on the same page for achieving the results that we expected.
Okay, excellent. Now, I see a few questions coming in that are similar, so I'll combine them. The question of how did you drive self-service adoption, and some of the questions are pertaining to different age groups and different demographics. So can you speak on what you did to drive self-service adoption?
Sure. For the pilot project, we didn't go into too much detail actually. That's why our adoption rate was rather low, which was around 10 to 12%. But after the pilot, we're planning to dig more into the data that we collect, also into our CRM, to see how we can also differentiate or customize or personalize the experience in order to drive the adoption rate higher. And so for the time being, we're basically leveraging our voice prompts. Özhan talked about it in one of the slides. We tried several different voice prompts text to get the attention of the users, but at the end of the day, as Özhan mentioned, very short, very to the point, voice prompt was very helpful. And also in terms of user experience, we're investing into more content stuff. So we're trying to generate more content like video FAQs to help customers, especially manage their own technical problems, so that they don't feel the need to call the agent, or when they talk with an agent, it's quite hard for them to understand what they're saying, and at the same time they're listening and when they're doing something with their device. So those were the two critical things.
Okay, excellent. This next one may have been covered, but I'll let you expand on it. We have a couple of questions regarding what particular use cases, such as billing or assurance or administration, did you apply Visual IVR to?
So we had various use cases. The ones that were used more frequently was the billing part. A lot of users actually check their account balance, and also a lot of them actually paid their bills through Visual IVR. So that was very useful for that use case. But also for technical problems, previously we did not have any video FAQs, any multimedia content that would help them solve their problem on their own. So we actually sat down with our marketing team, and we analyzed almost over 800,000 complaints from our customers, and we tried to prioritize the most important ones, and we came up with video FAQs to help them understand how they can solve their problem on their own. So technical problems and billing were the two main most used features of Visual IVR.
Okay. We have a question here that asks, what was the level of complexity of the process managed through the Visual IVR?
The level of complexity, for instance, we did not include any services that would require an extra layer of authentication or security, but the most complex transaction that we had on Visual IVR was paying the bills, where we had an integration with our credit card system, so that the customers can actually go in and pay their bills with their credit cards, which is also hard to do over a voice call, and we also implemented location-based. For instance, one use case was for our corporate customer care team, where we had illegal usage complaint. We also provide satellite service through our pay TV service. So there are some cases that some customers use illegal connections. So we came up with a scenario with a use case where people could actually let us know about any illegal usage, and they could share the location of the person who's using it, so that we would, return to them with a reward, and also worked out quite well. I think we got some complaints from users about illegal usage.
Okay, excellent. We have some questions about measurement. This being a case study presentation. So, how did customer satisfaction or any kind of customer experience tracking develop after introducing this new channel of technology, Visual IVR?
Yeah. So we actually called almost over 200 customers.
Yeah, we got more than 200.
Yeah, I think we called
more than 1,000.
Yeah, we called more than 1,000 customers who used Visual IVR to understand their experience with Visual IVR, and 200 of them, more than 200 of them, actually filled out the survey, and we tried to understand their experience and satisfaction through phone surveys. So we kept it quite simple for the pilot study, but like I said, for the post-pilot process, we're planning to dig more deeper into the usage through Visual IVR page, where we also collect data on the level of interaction that the customers have on Visual IVR screen, so that we can provide them better or personalized, customized services and content as well.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask a couple of more questions and respect the time of our attendees to get them back to their busy days. So we're going to ask just two more. I think one will be for Turk Telecom, and I think Chris Dutoy of Jacada will probably answer the last one. This question is, let me pick one of these for you, unless you see one in the Q&A you want to grab. So here's a kind of a broad question. What is your vision for the digital transformation?
Well, that's a very hard question, but it also touches on a lot of points. Digital transformation is just not on customer care; it's also on sales, marketing. So, I talked about the main areas that we are responsible for. All of those parts actually touch some point on digital transformation. For instance, big data analytics. So we actually try to come up with projects that could also, leverage and utilize our existing data assets, which could also help us drive down our, network costs, or lower our churn rates, or increase our customer satisfaction and retention. So there are lots of technologies and lots of things that you can do with digital transformation, but one of the key parts to it is customer satisfaction and customer engagement. So we are trying to invest into, especially in digital communications area, with new services that could help a customer reach us in the best possible way to our customer care. And so when you look at the trends, mobile is growing very fast, and we are also planning to invest into mobile technology, and we are planning to offer them more content and services over mobile. And so in terms of sales, for instance, we could also help our sales teams use more digital services to track their performance and also increase their performance. So there are lots of things that we can do, and we're working on those type of projects.
Okay, wonderful. Well, one last question. I think this is yours, Chris. An attendee asked, is Jacada represented in South Africa?
Okay.
Great, thanks, Lee. Yes, we are. So for the gentleman who asked that question, just please reach out either to Lee or myself following this, and we can connect you with the appropriate resources on that side.
All right.
And
well, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you there, Lee. There's one question about the elderly customers. Actually, we're not touching them right now, but we're planning to touch our hearing disabled, speech disabled customers through SMS triggered visual IVR. So that's something that we're planning to offer to them. So for instance, we're gonna assign an SMS number where the customer enters visual IVR or certain text to get a visual IVR link, so that hearing or speech disabled person can go and click the link and go see the whole visual IVR menu, where they obviously they don't have the option to talk to a real agent, where they can do all their stuff on a self-service basis. So that's something that we're planning to offer to our hearing and speech disabled customers.
Okay, very good. Any other closing words? Okay. If not, then this concludes our webinar entitled Becoming Digital, Turk Telecom Shares How to Drive Self-Service Adoption. Thanks again to Ahmed Furkan Gul, Digital Business Development of Turk Telecom Group, and also Özhan Teker, Digital Business Development of Turk Telecom, and Christy Toy, CMO here at Jacada. If there are any questions we were unable to answer today during today's webinar, we will respond to you directly after the event. And so we hope that you have gained valuable insight into how to drive self-service adoption with Visual IVR and how easily you can utilize it to enhance your organization's customer service. A replay of the event will be available soon on Jacada.com along with the download link to the presentation. Thank you again for attending today. Please visit us again at Jacada.com and have a wonderful day.
Okay.